It was still early in the morning when Martha Wilson, a kind 74-year-old woman, slowly opened her front door. The sky was gray, and the air smelled like rain. The wooden porch outside her small house was wet from the light drizzle that had fallen during the night. Martha stepped out to pick up her newspaper, as she did every day, but something made her stop. In the far corner of her porch, she saw a large German shepherd dog curled up tightly. His fur was wet, thin, and messy. He looked cold and sick. His ribs were easy to see, and his body was shaking from the chill. But what broke Martha's heart the most was what she saw under him. 2 tiny puppies, both shivering, trying to stay warm under their father's body. Martha stood still for a moment, her hand covering her mouth in shock. Her eyes filled with tears. The dog looked up at her, but there was no anger in his eyes. There was no barking or growling. Instead, his eyes were full of pain, but also trust. He was tired, hungry, and scared, but he didn't move. He was just protecting his babies. "Oh, sweetheart," Martha whispered gently. She slowly knelt down so she wouldn't scare the dog. Even though she was old, she moved carefully, showing that she meant no harm. The dog watched her, but didn't back away. Martha reached out her hand slowly, letting the dog smell her fingers. He gave a weak sniff, but stayed still. Without wasting time, Martha stood up and rushed back inside. She came back with a soft old quilt, some clean towels, and a plate of leftover chicken from last night's dinner. She gently wrapped the puppies in the towels first, drying their tiny bodies and warming them. Then she placed the quilt over the big dog, speaking softly to comfort him. "It's okay now. You're safe here," she told him, her voice calm and warm. The dog blinked slowly, as if he understood. Carefully, Martha helped him inside her house, step by step. He was weak, but he trusted her. She laid him on a soft blanket near the fireplace and placed the puppies beside him. The room was warm, and the fire crackled gently. For the first time in a long while, the little family felt safe. Martha sat in her armchair nearby, watching them closely. She had no idea where they had come from or what they had been through, but she knew one thing: she couldn't turn her back on them. As the rain continued to fall outside, the old woman and the 3 dogs rested in the quiet safety of the little home. And though she didn't know it yet, this simple act of kindness would change everything. It was only the beginning. The next morning, sunlight filled Martha's cozy living room. The fire from last night had turned to warm ashes. The German shepherd lay quietly on a blanket, his head resting beside his puppies. They were all still tired, but at least they were safe and warm. Martha brought over a bowl of water and a plate with small pieces of chicken. The dog lifted his head slowly, sniffed the food, and began to eat gently. Martha smiled. He was still weak, but he was trying. As the puppies nuzzled closer to him, Martha sat nearby and looked closely at the big dog. His body told a story. He had a strong frame and alert eyes. His ears were full of tiny scars, like someone who had seen battles. Even though he was thin now, his posture showed discipline. He didn't behave like an ordinary stray. "This boy must have been trained," she whispered to herself. Martha stood up and walked to her computer. She wasn't very good with technology, but she typed in, "How to tell if a dog is a retired police dog." Several websites appeared explaining how canine dogs are trained, how they behave, and how they respond to danger. Every description matched the dog lying in her home. Her heart began to race. "You were a hero once," she said softly, glancing back at him. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Martha stiffened. She wasn't expecting anyone. She slowly opened the door and saw a young police officer standing on her porch. He had short, dark hair and kind eyes. "Good morning, ma'am," he said politely. "I'm Deputy Harris. We've had a report about a missing German Shepherd in this area. May I take a look?" Martha hesitated. Would they take the dog away? She nodded slowly and stepped aside. As soon as Deputy Harris entered the room and saw the dog, his eyes grew wide. "That's Rex," he said, almost in a whisper. "Rex?" Martha asked. The officer walked closer. "He was part of a police unit. He went missing 6 months ago during a drug raid. His handler, Officer Daniels, didn't survive the mission. After that, Rex disappeared." Martha's eyes filled with emotion. "This poor dog. He's been through so much." Deputy Harris nodded. "He's more than a dog. He saved lives. But now he's different. Tired. Hurt. Will the police take him back?" she asked nervously. The deputy looked at the little family. "Technically, he belongs to the department. But in cases like this, if he's found a peaceful home, sometimes it's better to let him stay." Martha's face softened with relief. "Then he stays. He has a home here now." Outside, the wind rustled the trees. Neither of them noticed a pair of eyes watching from the distance. Someone hiding in the shadows. Someone who wanted Rex for a different reason. And though the storm had not yet come, it was on its way. The wind howled as the sky turned dark. Rain tapped on the windows like tiny fingers. Martha placed extra blankets on the floor, making sure the puppies were warm. Rex sat by the door, his ears alert and eyes focused. He hadn't relaxed all day. Every little sound outside made him stiffen. His body knew something was wrong, even if no one else could sense it. Martha noticed his behavior. "What is it, boy?" she asked gently, placing a hand on his head. He didn't move. His eyes stared through the window into the darkness. Suddenly, 3 loud knocks echoed through the house. Martha's heart jumped. It was late. No one came at this hour. She hesitated, then walked carefully to the door. Before she could look through the peephole, a deep, rough voice called from outside. "You have something we want." Her hand froze on the doorknob. "Who's there?" she shouted, trying to sound brave. No reply. Rex growled, stepping in front of her. His body was tense, his teeth bared. He stood like a soldier guarding his post. Martha's voice trembled. "Go away, or I'm calling the police." Still there was silence. Then the screech of tires. A car sped away into the stormy night. Martha slowly sank into a chair, her hands shaking. Rex didn't move from the door for another 10 minutes. Only after he was sure the threat was gone did he lie back down. The next morning, the sky was clear, but Martha's heart wasn't. She called Deputy Harris, telling him what had happened. He arrived quickly, concern on his face. Martha told him everything: the voice, the knocking, the fear. Deputy Harris frowned. "Ma'am, there's something you need to know. Recently, a group has been stealing retired K-9s. They're criminals who retrain them for smuggling, illegal security, and even fighting." Martha gasped. "You mean they want Rex?" The deputy nodded. "And the puppies, too. Dogs like Rex are rare. Trained, obedient, powerful. He's worth a lot to the wrong people." Martha looked at Rex, who sat quietly beside her. "I won't let them take him." "You may need to leave," Deputy Harris said. "Do you have somewhere safe?" Martha thought for a moment. Her late husband had built a cabin years ago, deep in the woods, far from roads and neighbors. "That place might work," she said. "I'll go tonight." Deputy Harris nodded. I'll help you pack, but be quick. If they came once, they'll come again." That evening, with her heart heavy but full of purpose, Martha loaded the puppies, some food, and Rex into her car. The drive to the cabin was long and quiet. By nightfall, they reached the old wooden house hidden among trees. Martha lit a fire and settled the dogs inside. Just as she began to relax, she stepped outside to get wood and froze. Fresh footprints in the mud led straight to the door. They had been found. The cabin was quiet, but Rex was not calm. He paced back and forth near the front door. His nose twitched, sniffing the air again and again. Something was wrong. Inside, Martha tried to stay strong. She held a flashlight in one hand and a small kitchen knife in the other, just in case. The puppies were asleep in a basket near the fireplace, unaware of the danger outside. The fresh footprints she had seen earlier still haunted her. Someone had found them, and that someone might return. Suddenly, Rex froze and stared at the door. His ears stood straight, and his body grew tense. Knock, knock, knock. 3 loud knocks. Martha's breath caught in her throat. Her heart pounded like a drum. She took a step closer to the door. Before she could ask who it was, a voice called softly from the other side. "Rex? It's me. Jake." Rex's ears twitched, then his whole body shifted. A moment later, he barked, not in fear but in joy. He jumped at the door, wagging his tail. Martha opened it slowly. Standing outside was a man in his 30s, wearing a faded K9 unit jacket, soaked from the rain. His face looked tired, his eyes red, but kind. The moment the door opened, Rex leaped into his arms. He licked Jake's face and whined like a lost child who finally found home. Jake hugged him tightly. "I thought you were gone forever, buddy." Martha watched with a soft smile. "You're his handler?" Jake nodded. "I was. During a raid, we got separated. I was injured. When I woke up in the hospital, they said Rex had disappeared. I found him on my porch, with puppies," Martha said. Jake looked surprised. "Puppies? Rex, you've been busy, huh?" Before they could laugh, headlights flashed through the trees. A black car came rolling up the muddy path. Martha's smile faded. Jake stood up fast. "Get inside, lock the doors." The car stopped. 3 men jumped out. They had masks and weapons. Gunshots rang out. Bang, bang. Jake pushed Martha behind a couch. "Stay down." Rex ran toward the door and jumped through the opening. He attacked the nearest man, biting his arm and knocking him down. The second man tried to shoot, but Rex tackled him too. The third man fired a tranquilizer dart. It hit Rex in the side. "No!" Jake shouted as Rex stumbled. Still, Rex growled and stood firm for a few seconds, protecting Martha and the puppies. But the dart was strong. His legs gave way, and he collapsed on the floor. Suddenly, police sirens howled in the distance. More cars arrived. Officers surrounded the attackers and arrested them on the spot. Jake ran to Rex and held his head gently. "Stay with me, boy. You're going to be okay." Paramedics rushed in, loading Rex into a van. Martha stood in the rain, her heart breaking as the doors closed. They had won the fight, but now came the real test. Would Rex survive? The room smelled like medicine and cleaning spray. The lights were bright, and machines beeped softly in the background. Rex lay quietly on a soft blanket in the vet's clinic, hooked up to fluids. His body didn't move, but his tail gave a tiny wag. Martha sat beside him, holding his paw. Her eyes were tired, red from crying, but filled with hope. She had stayed at the clinic every day, waiting for Rex to wake up. The puppies were safe at home with a neighbor, but her heart was here, with him. Then finally, on the 3rd day, Rex opened his eyes. Martha gasped. "Rex?" she whispered, leaning closer. His eyes moved, then his tail wagged again, this time stronger. "You're awake," she said with a shaky voice, smiling through tears. "You made it." A nurse entered and quickly checked his vitals. "He's a fighter," she said gently. "He's going to be okay." Martha kissed Rex's forehead. "Thank you for coming back to us." Later that afternoon, Jake arrived. He had brought some treats, and when he saw Rex sitting up slightly, he broke into a grin. "Look at you," Jake said softly, kneeling down. "Still tough, huh?" Rex let out a soft bark, happy to see his old partner again. Jake stayed for a while, talking to both Rex and Martha. He shared stories of their missions, how Rex once tracked a missing child for miles, and how he once saved Jake's life during a shootout. Every word showed just how special Rex was. But then Jake grew quiet. He looked at Martha and gave a small smile. "I've been thinking," he said. "Rex doesn't belong in a kennel or a training center anymore." Martha tilted her head. "What do you mean?" Jake looked at Rex, then back at her. "He has a new life now, a family, a home, and someone who truly loves him." Martha's eyes filled again. "Are you sure?" Jake nodded. "He's happiest with you. I can see it." So it was decided. A few days later, Rex was strong enough to leave the clinic. Martha brought him home to the little cottage, where the puppies jumped around him with joy. He licked their faces, gentle and protective as always. The sun shone brightly that morning. Martha placed a soft rug near the front porch, where Rex could lie down and watch the puppies play in the grass. He stretched out, finally at peace. No more running, no more hiding, just love, safety, and quiet joy. Neighbors sometimes stopped by to see the famous dog who had once served in the police and now guarded 3 little hearts like a true hero. Martha would smile and say, "He's not just a hero, he's family." And every evening, as the sky turned orange and the air cooled, Rex would lie beside her, head on her lap, while the puppies snuggled nearby. He had found his forever home,